Well, if there's ever an industry, a space where you should have an expert, Grateful Insurance Advisors here, commercial insurance experts, the number one name in commercial insurance. We want to know more about that name he's got. Well, stay tuned for more. No, but it helps. Here we go. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, back with our expert in studio. Chris and I have been talking a little bit off camera about what is it. I mean, so much that people don't understand about commercial insurance and what it covers versus what you have with your standard home and auto and all those things. Life, you got certifications on all of those. But tell me, what is it about your name? Where did you? What's the name mean to you? Where did that kind of come from? Give me a little bit of the background there.
Sure. So, when I started out the agency, it was called Finnerty Insurance Group, which is my last name. I thought that's just what you did. You used your last name. And my best friend was over about 2 weeks later, and he was like, I'm an ex-State Farm guy. And I said, oh, yeah. He goes, I'll come sell insurance for you. And we happen to be big Deadheads, big fans of the Grateful Dead. And he goes, we'll call ourselves Grateful Insurance Advisors. And I said, wow. So, lights start going off everywhere in my head. But, I just spent all this money to be Finnerty Insurance Group. So when I started hiring people, that's when I changed the name. I figured nobody wanted to work for Finnerty Insurance Group, but maybe be a part of Grateful Insurance Advisors.
That makes sense, yes. And in general, it just sounds like a good name because you want to be grateful for the people that are setting you up with insurance, but a little bit of that connection to one of the favorite bands in the history of the world.
Sure.
That's not a bad thing either. Tell me, though, what's the biggest mistake that people make when they're buying insurance? What do they not consider? What is something they don't realize, the biggest mistake they make?
So I would say the biggest mistake that people make is they're loyal to a fault. And, I want my clients to be loyal, not shop it out, be with me for 30 years. But you have to understand that when they originally wrote that business, you were getting the discounted rate. So think about your cable company, $49.99, and then 3 years later you're paying $129.99, and you have to call and complain and get it back down, and then do it for 6 months, and it goes right back up. So you're getting, at the lower discounted rate, but every year that thing is going up, maybe 5-10%, and it doesn't look bad from a year-to-year standpoint. But when somebody comes to me and says, I've been with my agent for 30 years and I've had enough, I know that I'm going to cut them in half. I know for a fact I'm going to cut them in half as far as their pricing. But also, in those past 30 years, are they really keeping up with your coverages? Are they meeting with you annually like they should? That's where I find, the catastrophic coverages aren't there. So yeah, you're really kind of being put on autopilot and taken advantage of. It's unfortunately the longer you've been there, the more you're paying and the less coverage you may have.
Interesting, yeah, because so many people don't realize, but you have those incremental increases, but you add 5 or 10% up over 5 or 10 years, and all of a sudden you've got, you're up 30, 40, 50% more than what
Correct.
you were when you started. And did they keep up with the coverages and the different changes to policies and that you got 2 new cars now instead of 1 car, other types of things, or business-related stuff, more overhead and more employees and a bigger office and all those things. So a lot of things that people just don't realize, and so you need to have that checkup. How often is it that you see that smaller business, some of your competitors, they don't even give a yearly checkup?
Oh, I often tell people, there's about 5 guys that I go against consistently. I'm mainly south of Springfield, all the way to Carbondale. There's about 5 guys that I go against consistently. But, it's like one guy does manufacturing, one does auto dealers, one does contractors. But I always tell people there's nobody that does what I do, which is a generalist, and then, hits businesses throughout the whole state. Those 5 guys, they're professional agents. If we go toe to toe, it is very hard, to beat them, and they feel the same way about me, or at least I think they do. those are the people that are doing it. So I'd say about 5 agents south of Springfield are doing that.
Okay, so yeah, when you've got that competitive edge, and you're given a little more time, and you're taking time to sit down with people with a private meeting, that'll offer a lot more service to people too, so they can get a better handle on what they're buying. Right?
Correct. Yep. And we have about a 95% retention ratio, and that's because we are sitting down with these clients. We're going over, they feel comfortable when they renew their policy. They feel comfortable when they buy the policy off of us. So we have a 95% retention ratio when, the industry average, especially if you throw personal lines in there, might be closer to 60%. So you're losing 1 out of 2 every year.
Wow,
on
that's
average.
a big drop, yeah, for businesses to keep up with. Many times we offer residential versus commercial. You're mostly commercial. Do you do any residential, or what can you offer with people or something to stay away from?
Absolutely. We are not going to turn anybody away. We specialize in commercial insurance, but we're a broker on the personal side. We have about 10 markets that we can go to. Home, auto, boat, life insurance. We're brokers there. We probably have 24 markets we can go to on the life insurance side. So yeah, we certainly don't shy away from any of it, but we want to be experts, in certain industries on the commercial side. So
Well spent, obviously, with the background, all of those, because those insurance questions that they make you study are relative to both sides of that. But most people spend most of their time on the residential. You specialize in the commercial.
correct. Yeah. I mean, when I go into a city, there's going to be a State Farm, there's going to be a Country, there's going to be an Allstate in every single town, maybe in America, or at any town with any sort of population. And then there's going to be local agencies, usually with the last name, in their name. But they still really focus on personal insurance, So there really is not that many people that do what I do. So it is different.
Makes sense, and that's why you want to have that expert who's spent the time to get certified and have the experience and to carve a niche out that you've obviously carved. Sure. It makes it something you can really specialize in. It makes it a little easier for people to be able to trust you. What do you like about your market? You got the Metro East. You do some St. Louis. What do you like about all the different people in this region, and what have you learned about the people you serve?
Yeah, so traditionally I have done basically Springfield to Carbondale in Illinois. Since I've gone out on my own, I've expanded into Missouri. I do now have 3 producers in Missouri. So I'm coming into Missouri basically when I'm referred there. But, Midwest people are the best. You can talk to them. They will sit down. God forbid you make a couple friends out of this.
Right.
So there are some guys. I take to the baseball game. Or we meet up. For lunch once a month. So salt of the earth people.
Well, it's nice to see that you're serving so well and to make those connections with the people you have here. And St. Louis, being a Midwest-based city, obviously there's so much you can offer. And the Cardinal fans, right?
That's right.
We get to know each other. And it's a good idea to be a Cardinal fan no matter what business you're in. But obviously lots of connections you can make there. A lot of good people you'll meet through just being part of it. You can't be a Cardinal fan or live in the Midwest and not be a Cardinal fan, I should say. Very obvious for many good reasons. Well, tell me a time when you had a specific issue with a client where you helped somebody that was in a tough situation and you knew they were getting kind of put out on a limb, but you said, hey, let me explain to you what's going on here, and you really helped them.
Sure. So we do specialize in certain niches on commercial insurance, but we've kind of got a reputation of, these guys can get just about anything done. So the most difficult classes of business, people that are in trouble. One of the major reasons that I went out on my own is I feel that business is won in the trenches, right? And what I mean by the trenches is somebody calls you and says, I need insurance today.
Right.
And you're like, whoa, the industry standard is 30 days lead time. Okay. There are certain larger agencies that won't look at anything 30 days in advance, or won't even accept the submission 30 days in advance. I've written some of my largest accounts in 48 hours. So, I've given my producers the flexibility to do that. So when somebody is in trouble, we will drop what we're doing, we will knock it out of the park, and that customer should be with us forever. That's our philosophy. If you can really get them out of a tough spot, then your retention goes way up.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, how often we can find ourselves and we're calling to say, hey, I need this right now because something changed or some kind of flux in the business or whatever it is. But you've dealt with many of those and handle it and make sure and take care of people.
Absolutely. Just got a call on the way here. He said, do you have a quote for me? I said, well, you don't come due till July. And he goes, I'll take a quote today if you got one. So I picked up the phone and called him, and he said, I got to be honest with you, I don't have insurance right now. And I said, well, I got to be honest with you, it's going to be the end of the week, but I got my guy working on it right now. So we understand those situations, and we do believe that insurance is won in the trenches, and we're willing to fight in those trenches.
There you go. Somebody who's willing to go to bat for you, everybody, to make sure that you get the proper coverage. What's a big challenge you've overcome as a business owner, or something you've seen in the industry that you were like, didn't see that coming, but you had to respond to that and made you a little bit stronger?
Sure. So I probably am going to say the same thing that every business owner has said on this show, but that the AI, the automation, I mean, trying to keep up with it, either embrace it or it's going to replace you, right? That's kind of my philosophy. So I have switched over all my marketing, and I make little commercials with AI videos. We've been having a real lot of fun with it. People love them. I get messages all the time. I used to be, I was kind of like you. I was the Cardinals guy. When I saw somebody out in public, they would want to talk about Cardinals because they knew I went to every game. Now I'm the AI guy. They're like, oh my God, I love your videos, yada, yada, yada. So you got the AI, from the marketing standpoint, and even comparing coverages it does. I mean, it does so many different things. And then, the automation. If you're going to reach as many clients as we need to reach, and with as many producers, you have to automate some of that outreach. We still go business to business. We try to do everything in face, but we do drip campaigns and things like that to get the name out there. We just want to be, we don't necessarily want to sit there and quote with 10 other companies, where they just called everybody in the phone book. We want to be next on deck when something catastrophic happens and they're ready to move. So yeah, we want to play in the trenches.
Yeah, well, technology is always changing, and AI is such a big part of that. I might pull up a couple of your clips here. Is it on your Facebook? Is that where
it is? Yeah.
We'll maybe highlight a couple of those for people when we come back from our break. But before we finish up, talk to me a little bit about how technology has impacted you. We'll go to our break here, but that AI stuff, why has that become so valuable to you?
Sure. Well, as far as the AI videos, they're all generally humorous, right? So one of the big things is breaking down the barrier of being an insurance guy, right? I like to let them know, I like to have a little fun. I'm a human being. I have a family, And when you meet people at that level, or you meet them where they are, you tend to have a lot of success. They trust you more. When I first started selling insurance, I had to wear a shirt and tie and a suit to proposals. Now, coming from the bank, I was a bank manager, that was no big deal to me. But I'm calling on construction workers. I'm going to a construction site in a full suit, and I end up proposing the thing on somebody's truck hood,
Right, yeah.
So, with Grateful Insurance Advisors, we're not going to have ties. We're not going to have suits. We might have long hair. We're going to wear hats. We're going to wear jeans. I got some Jordans on. We're gonna try to meet people where they are, and we've been having a ton of success. I had somebody the other day say, I said, hey, I was in here a couple weeks ago. She goes, did you have a tie on? I said, no. She goes, oh, yeah, we would have never called you back if you had a tie on. So I think it's working. I mean, this is how people dress in 2026.
There you go. And with lots of good fun stuff we get to do in the community. So we'll be right back after we share with you some of our fun.
Go ahead and scan that QR code. It's up there on the screen right there by the stage. They're matching your donations up to $50,000. Thank you, and thanks for Fitness for that donation. We really appreciate it, guys.
next Guns N' Roses challenge.
Take it.
Take it. Take it.
I take challenge.
The Club Fitness Guns N' Roses Challenge.
Support the families of our fallen first responders. Donate now and we'll match your donation.
Support the survivors.
We'll match donations up to $50,000.
Make one donation wins a lyric pack.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey, we're looking for the small business owners and leaders in our community to be on our show. This is the Your Little Castle Show. We air 3 times a week, every week on ABC, and we would like to put somebody you know, or maybe it's you, who's a business owner to be on our show. You'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com. And if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. It takes just a couple seconds. And you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show. And there is no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Check that out. Go to bigleagues.com. Well, with that, we talk about how the world has evolved technology-wise. So pick up our book here. There it is. You see the cover there. Magnetize Your Media. Yours truly wrote the introduction for this book. They even stole my mug somewhere off the internet. But the whole world of media has changed. And we're going to show off some of Chris's AI work, too. We found some of his great clips that are out there. This is going to be a lot of fun to kind of share. But how does that impact business? Tell me about the technology overall, though. Literally, it used to be 500-page policies. Now you've got systems in place. The technology has really made it more efficient for you to get the job done when it comes to helping your clients.
Sure. So, previous to a year ago, I would get your policy, 500 pages. I couldn't say I read all of it, but I keyword searched it, and I would read the whole page and whatnot. And then I would go get quotes and I would put it all into an Excel spreadsheet. Now you could upload policy A and policy B into ChatGPT. It's going to break it down and it's going to make you the spreadsheet. And then you can make it client facing, or you can make it more professional, or you can make it more casual. It is crazy. Now, I will say it's not quite there yet.
Okay.
You got to double check all the information, but it at least gives you a template where you can, tweak it a little bit. But that would take 3-4 hours a customer,
Wow.
and now we're doing it in 90 seconds.
Okay.
I think we're about to jump into the AI videos, but we've really been having a lot of fun with it. Clients have been loving it. We've been attracting a lot of business from it. People reach out to me and they say, "I love your AI videos. Will you please quote my business?" So we're presenting ourselves as something different than the average insurance agent.
Well, with that, I'm going to put up on the TV wall here. I'll go out to the wide. There it is.
There I am as Macho
just,
Man.
Sounds just like Macho Man. Here, take a look at. Tell me what's going on with this video.
So this is a famous Macho Man interview where he says he is the cream of the crop. So that's me dressed up like Macho Man, and I'm saying Grateful Insurance Advisors is the cream of the crop. One of my favorites.
Well, that's you want to be the cream of the crop. There it is, Grateful Insurance Advisors. That makes sense there. But yeah, these things are a lot of fun. You get to really kind of interact and connect with your community now, whereas in the past, you kind of just had to get something artificial done that, or just your regular. I shouldn't say artificial, but your standard video of you just kind of preaching to the audience, but not with the humor and comedy and intrigue that you get from a lot of what you do now.
Sure, yeah. I mean, if you look at the competition per se, you got billboards or, they're handing out trinkets at the fair, which, we'll do all of the above. But, the world is changing. So we are getting to people in different ways, social media. We join associations such as the Southern Illinois Builders Association. We join our local chamber. We're members of O'Fallon and Edwardsville thus far, working on joining more. Once again, we want to own Main Street. And not own Main Street, we want to insure Main Street,
Sure, and you've got a lot of people there. I mean, especially with the target audience that you've told me you focus on, there's everybody has to carve their niche, and it sounds like you found a niche that you effectively work with, and you can save generally 29% over what other people are spending elsewhere. Otherwise, and that makes 29% is a big chunk of change for
give or take. I have my good days and my bad days.
But it's an average. That's a pretty big difference.
Let me tell you how we can save somebody 29%. With all due respect to personal insurance, it is numbers in a machine, out comes the quotes. The only thing you can do to adjust that number is change the deductible or increase coverage or decrease coverage. So you can't call anybody and say, "Hey, this is my brother's policy. Knock another $200 off and this is a done deal." It's all set, right? Why you need to hire us is we have all the best markets for commercial insurance. We are going to shop this out for you, and we are going to tell your story. We are going to sell you to the underwriter. And this is why, if you really like this account and you think it could be a profitable account, this is why you should go to the wall. And by the wall means put max credits on it to write this account. We are willing to do that, and that's how we're saving customers 29%.
There you have it. Like this is you want somebody who's willing to go to the wall to make sure,
Sure.
That you expound upon all the options and all the opportunities and all the different variables. Because how often people just go flip something out there. Hey, it's beating the other guys by $5. Good, send it to them, sign them up. And in your case, you pay more attention than that.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, that extra couple $1,000 doesn't do as much for me as you'd think. I would like to get you the lowest price possible. For the exposure that you have. We're not just trying to beat somebody by $5 or $500. We're trying to earn your business.
Well said. Tell me, what are some of the mistakes you see some of your competitors make? I guess you've kind of alluded to some of that without naming names, but tell me.
Well, everybody that I have hired, they are all trained to go business to business all day long, Monday through Friday. We are gonna keep showing up until they hire us, or tell us to get out. But we're gonna keep dripping on them. So I guess I don't know if lazy is the word or complacent, but they put some of their best clients on autopilot. And once they figure out, that we're not going away and that we keep showing up and we want to help improve their safety program, improve their coverage, improve their pricing, eventually they call us. And that's those are the type of clients we're looking for. Maybe somebody that was taken advantage of, per se.
Persistence, and then having the valid information and be informed to back it up. Well, by now, I'm sure many people are going, how do I sign up with Chris? Chris, tell me the process for somebody to sign up with you.
Sure. You would just call that cell phone number right there is going to be the best way. I'm going to call you within 24 hours or one business day. Generally like to set up a face-to-face business meeting, so I will come to your business. We'll sit down. I'll introduce myself. We'll go over, I may ask for copies of your policy or take it with me. I'm going to break down your policy, give you some recommendations, and I'm going to bring you half a dozen quotes or so.
And within a few minutes, they can have a brand new policy with somebody that does actually study what they're going after and what they need, and make sure that they're properly insured.
Not a few minutes, but
Well, after you've done the work.
Oh, okay, of course, yeah.
Come back.
Yeah, we do want to play in the trenches, but lead time is our friend.
Yeah, but I'm saying after you've done the work, the research, and here's your options. Like I said, then a few minutes after that, they could be in your hands.
Absolutely, yep.
Making sure they've got the right policy in place. What is the biggest question people have for you, though? What's the biggest objection they have? Is it always price, or do they say what are the biggest questions people have?
Well, they all start with price, right? They always all start with price until you come in and you've saved them a substantial amount of money. Now all of a sudden they care about coverage, because if somebody is paying $50,000 and you come in at $30,000, their initial reaction is not to give you a hug or where do I sign up? It's what is missing, right? So we're bringing those types of quotes to people, but we're actually improving their coverage. But if you beat somebody that bad, then the burden of proof is on you of why, your apples to apples coverage or, better coverage than what they have. So, people get hesitant when they see the cost savings. And sometimes it's just as simple as you've been with somebody too long. And, it's just been kind of autopiloted. They haven't shopped it for you. Or they don't have the ability to shop it for you because they're a captive agent.
Yeah. Well, a lot of great advantages you bring to the table. And the captive agent, you're essentially a broker, right? You can
Correct.
pick it from a list of people and make a big impact for a lot of people. So if you're looking for an expert, somebody that can make sure, Cardinal fan too, talk to my buddy Chris
Definitely.
here. Grateful Insurance Advisors, the #1 name in commercial insurance, and he will make sure to take a great opportunity to help you. Call him direct, 618-799-5218. Grateful Insurance, gratefulins.com. Stay tuned, everybody.